So pretty stoked to try out this Greener battery. It's a 48 volt nominal, but I believe 51.2 nominal as far as the lithium iron phosphate cells go, and 100 amp hours, so right around 5 kilowatt hours. Now I did pick this up myself, but it's probably about the limit of what a man with, you know, exceeding strength as mine can do. So, you know, yeah, you know, you want to carry this around, fine. But if it gets any heavier than that, you're probably not going to want to maybe use a lift truck or whatever. Let's see what it looks like. It's kind of gray, so not necessarily greener in color. So we will have to see if it's greener in performance. So as I mentioned, 51.2 volts nominal. It is lithium iron phosphate technology, which has really great cycle life. In other words, lasts a long time. Lithium iron phosphate also, not a lot of cobalt going on in there like some of the other more energy dense cells, but we would rather put a couple more pounds on and not have to worry about those chemicals. And there she blows. It looks like they package it really nicely. Keep it nice and dry. Nice to see something completely waterproof and closed in plastic. That's pretty cool. But there she blows. 5 kilowatt hours. You know, I'm always amazed. I'm eternally amazed at where this battery technology has gone. If this was 5 kilowatt hours of lead batteries, I would literally not be able to pick it up. So to be able to pick up this much power and to have a battery of that size in the vehicle is just wonderful. I mean, put 2, put 3. I believe that you can parallel as many of these up as you want to. So we'll put one here in this Toro and we'll see how it performs. Hey there, I'm Brett with Solarrolla, and we have something really sweet for you to check out today. We have a 2017 Toro Workman that we've converted to a solar-powered electric vehicle. It was already electric, now it is solar-powered electric, and it has an inverter on it which will allow you to run tool batteries, chop saw. It'll even let you weld and run a table saw. All right, so first thing we have to do is we have to turn on our inverter. Now when you plug this vehicle in, it is what's called an inverter charger. So the inverter also has a charger in it, which is really nice to have that all-in-one unit. You're gonna wanna come over to this other side and actually turn on your inverter. Okay, so as I mentioned, you got your 15 amp AC input right there. So there's your little door to keep it safe. That's where you plug it in. Here is your inverter. So it's a lead time 3500 watt solar inverter, which means it has solar input. So if you notice that little loop of wire over there in the back, if you wanted to, you could actually put more solar panels to this battery and to this vehicle. So if you wanted to have a small array set up where you use to charge this vehicle, you can also do that. So it's amazing the options here. So right over here is the switch for the inverter. I'm going to flip it on. You're going to hear a beep. Okay, so once your inverter's on, you can come over here to your outlets and you can start plugging things in. So it is a 3500 watt inverter, which means that you can use 15 amps or more out of each plug. So I'm just going to keep my tool batteries going. For example, it gives me the ability to run a, there it is, you see the light, you hear the nice little noises. I also, if you notice, have my Stihl electric chainsaw battery. Another really nice thing to be able to keep running off this rig. You got a little dump bed, you go out in the woods, you get yourself some firewood, use your electric saw, have one battery on the charger if you want to cut a ton. Otherwise, I just have one battery with me right now. That's all I'm going to need. So the other thing that I'm going to run today is I'm going to run this chop saw. So chop saw is probably one of the most useful construction tools. And I kind of designed this inverter system to make sure and run a chop saw. Now this thing, as I mentioned, will also run a table saw and even a welder off of 110. And we're going to do that later, but right now we're going to just try out the chop saw. Okay, so we're plugged in. There we go. Let's grab a board. It looks like a nice board. These are some of the shavings from the sawmill. Let's see what happens. This is about 1-inch oak. So pretty much with ease, as you can see. There's no lag, there's no nothing, just solid power. I guess just to be convincing, I'll throw 2 of them up there, but I think it's pretty clear that you've got all the power you could ever need to run this chop saw. Running through 2 inches of oak there, no worries. All right, so as I mentioned, we have our Stihl chainsaw with us. This thing actually works pretty good. I cut, as you can see, about what is it, Kara, 30 cords?
27.
27 cords. We still got a little bit left over, right? Just using these battery saws. I can even cut at night because I don't have to wake anybody up. Let's go over and just cut a log real quick. And I can, of course, keep that charged up if I want to as well. So now that I'm not using the chop saw, I'm going to take that out, and I am going to plug in my chainsaw battery, which of course is not even a challenge for that inverter. Now notice I got my grinder, I got my drill, I got my driver. You truly have everything you need. I mean, you can build a house with this stuff, right? As I mentioned, you can run a table saw. And the nice thing is, you've always got power coming in. So it's not going to be a situation where you're just using your battery and you're done. You will have power coming in. So if you're out and you're working in the sun, you're charging that battery. So let's take a look at the battery output real quick. Hey there, Brett with Solarrolla. We are looking at the Greener lithium battery. So it's a 48 volt nominal, about 51.2 volt lithium iron phosphate 100 amp hour battery, so a little over 5 kilowatt hours. We have it here in this Toro Workman, and I've really worked it pretty hard and it's been great. So we've been running a 3500 watt inverter off it. Of course, a lot more power just to move this vehicle around, pulling things, hauling things, whatever. I want to show you what I like about this battery. So what I really like about this battery is you can pull up the Bluetooth BMS. You can look right at your BMS with your Bluetooth. So you just open up the app and you're looking at all your voltage cells, right, of your cells right there. You're looking at your current. So like we have a solar panel up on top of this vehicle. We can see our solar power coming in. We can see everything. But what's even better than that is I can go over here to this parameter setting on this BMS, and I can look and I can say, let's look at our protection parameters. And what that does is it gives me the ability to set each and every parameter on these battery cells. So if you're not aware, if you don't charge a lithium battery all the way full and you don't discharge it absolutely all the way to its limit empty, you increase the lifetime of that battery exponentially. So with this battery, you can go in and say, you know what, instead of having my high voltage cutoff for each cell at 3.8 volts, I'm going to bring that down to 3.6, maybe 3.5. In my experience, lithium iron phosphates are full by 3.4, 3.5 right in there. So if I stop my charging there, I'm extending lifetime. And on the other end, you know, they say that lithium iron phosphates will go down to 2.5 volts. You know, I've seen them drop pretty fast after 3 volts. You know, maybe 2.75. So after that, there's not a lot of capacity anyway. So go ahead and change that parameter and bring it up to even 3 volts if you want. You're still going to get 90% of your power, 85% of your power, but you're going to increase the lifetime of that battery significantly. So this Greener battery BMS and Bluetooth connection allows for that. All right, so here is the BMS for the Greener battery. It is Bluetooth on my phone. Super nice, super convenient. There's all my cells. I will also say that this battery came with a lot more skew between the cells, and they've since bounced themselves out. So as you can see, it's a cycle indexes too, which means we've cycled a couple times and they've already gotten really, really close in value. So as I was mentioning, we can go over here to parameters, and protection parameters. And look, we can change the cell high voltage protect. In other words, where that battery, where that BMS stops power from coming in is at 3.8 volts or 3,800 millivolts. I can set that to whatever I want. I can say, you know what? Let's stop charging at 3.6 volts or 3,600. We set that, bang. So there it goes, set successfully. So now look, now it's 3,600 millivolts. Now I haven't had to bring that cell so high. And you know what? There's not a lot of power up there anyway. So why not take the longevity, bring those parameters in tighter, and you can do that with the Greener battery. Very cool.